Good morning, Ruby Lane. We are back on day 5 of Doll Week, and we have been having the best time. This morning, we are doing a program that we have been so excited about all week. It's called It's a Mod World, the Wonderful World of Dawn, which is a personal passion of Michael Canadas.
Yay! Thank you, Rachel.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, and I'm glad that you took this leap of going into the unknown world. And first of all, I want to talk about your outfit that you're wearing today. Which is beautiful. And it's very reminiscent of 1969. And my mother wore a dress almost just like that, but I will rework it for the audience. You would not have this sleeve here. This would be cut right there. Your stripes would be a little wider.
A little wider, okay.
A little wider. You probably would not have, definitely not have the waist in here like this. It'd be 2 long stripes. And it would be short. Well, depending, you're very ladylike, so you would be wearing it about the way
about right there.
that my mother would be. But if you weren't ladylike, it'd be right up there.
Right up there. Well, it's close. Sort of close.
And you would never, at 1969, be wearing pearls.
Never.
No, because that would be like June Cleaver, rather than. And the final thing is, you would have at least 1 can of hairspray on your hair.
Always. Always.
Now, I'm okay here, color-wise, except these pants are too baggy. The coat is too long. The shoes are wrong. The color of the shirt, which I wore for Dawn today, is perfect, except I could hear my mother saying, "We're not farmers." So shall we look at Dawn?
Oh, we should look at Dawn.
Okay.
This is amazing. We are so excited. A lot of people are going to remember Dawn, and a lot of people are just now finding out.
Well, you know, the thing about Dawn is, this morning I did some, because David said to me, "Did you do any research?" And I said, "I don't have to do research. I lived it."
You were there.
I was there. So then I thought, well, that's a little smarty pants of me. So I actually did some research. And then I realized that those people that did the research, they weren't there. So what I should tell you about Topper Toy Company, if those of you really should watch the video that Ruby Lane has posted of a Dawn commercial, because in that video, the father that's dancing with the little girl at the end of the commercial is the founder of Topper Toy Company. And he was actually survived a concentration camp during the Holocaust.
Oh, wow.
So he survived that, came to America, went to New Jersey, founded the Topper Toy Company. We're in Pacific Grove, California, which is known as the last hometown. If you walked out our front door and you walked across the street, there's Grove Market. And I know my audience that's here today, they would agree with this. And you walk in the door and you feel like, is it 1965? Because it's a little marketplace with the little butcher shop and all of the things. And every time I go in there, I go into the frozen food department. And I always kind of look up because I think I should see a doll in a frou-frou costume and big box things, because that was Topper Toys' marketplace. So they went to small town America, and they must have had a phenomenal sales team that went into small town America, places that wouldn't have a toy store, that didn't have Sears and Roebuck. And that's how they presented their toys and dolls and beautiful costumes. You know, in a way, they were kind of slightly, even though they're 50s and 60s and 70s dolls, they were kind of like almost like a bisque dolly-faced doll with exuberant costumes. So they managed to get a piece of the marketplace. And then along comes Barbie, and she changes everything. And then in 1969, oh, the mailman's here. See, it's small town.
Small town USA. Thank you, sir.
So Barbie comes along, the fashion doll craze. And by 1969, you know, she was, let's face it, she was your older sister's doll. And they came up with Dawn. And Dawn is, look at the size of Dawn.
She's smaller.
She's 6 inches tall. So in 1969, 1970, this is one of the first ones, 1969, 1970, here's what I thought was very interesting. The, quote, demise of Dawn had to do with parents. It had nothing to do with parents. It had to do with how the company, imploded upon itself. Because in 1969 and 1970, I got $1 a day for lunch. And I could go to lunch and get lunch for 50 cents. So here is a Dawn that's priced 59 cents.
Oh.
So we could buy our own things. And we were recycling way, 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 way before anyone else because we had refillable bottles that we got 5 cents for. So you could really, as a child, build up a great, cache of Dawns that were much, much cheaper than Barbie. And also by 1969 and 1970 and 71, the clothes were much, much cooler than Barbie. Barbie was having some problems. So they were really wonderful things to have. And the thing you'd have to ask your parent for if you needed more money were the big things like the Dawn Fashion Show, the beauty pageant, perhaps like the beauty shop, the apartment. Those would have been more money at the time. But I also want you to see, remember...
We've been holding back. We want to get in and in the nitty-gritty.
Well, here's the thing.
Wow.
Here is a 6-inch doll. And look at, she's got a handbag, a bracelet with a charm, a beautiful necklace. And of course, I was creative then, and I am now, so I took the other tiara off another outfit and incorporated it into the ensemble.
She looks amazing.
So, this is a little tiny doll. And one thing that's interesting, they're 6-inch dolls, just over 6 inches. They're all hand-painted.
Hand-painted?
So they're all, the features, there's no two that are alike.
Her hair is fabulous.
Yeah, well, see, this is one of the, I think it's in the second year, and this is actually head to toe. So it has a short haircut, and then you have all of these. In our day, they were called falls and wiglets.
Falls and wiglets.
So wiglets. So my mother and her girlfriend, my mother had hair down below her waist, and that doesn't mean she didn't add in more. So once a week, you took your wiglet or your fall into the beauty shop and had it all done up. Right, girls? So this,
her hair is amazing. It's touching the floor.
Yeah, and so this was
even.
creative. So you could do all kinds of things, and actually, it really is a kind of a come on because you buy head to toe, and you really do have to buy more than one because you need more hair pieces, and we did.
If you guys are tuning in, we are here live with Michael Canadas with the Dawn Doll Seminar. And this is his collection, yes. Which is good to know because this is such an amazing collection. We have Dawn enthusiasts that have never seen a collection this wonderful, so it is just incredible that you have it, and unexpected.
Well, you know what, as I've said before, this to me is no different than a French fashion doll. The only difference is that this is much more easier for me to talk about because I was there and I live it. When I see it, yesterday I got a little bit nostalgic, not necessarily for my childhood, but the people I remember. I smell hairspray, perfume. Now we have this, I need me time, some time for me. Well, you know what? For every lady that I know at that time, me time was getting your makeup on, your hair done, your fingernails done. I never saw my mother with chipped fingernails. That was like incredibly, bad. Or going to the supermarket with curlers in your hair. I mean, I can see my mother's face giving someone the look like, how dare you show yourself in public? And the tragedy of all time, and these ladies sitting here know this, is, so here's an outfit with matching hose. If you got a run in your hose, it was a tragedy.
Green fling.
Green fling. So you had to have nail polish, and my mother had nail polish and always an extra pair so that she could change them, because that was just terrible.
Now, could you just take them off?
Well, I guess they could take them off and they changed them, but you just, they would actually do this clear nail polish to stop
a run.
the runs on your legs. Yeah, and they would do that. And this is the era too where you did 1969, 70, 71. Okay, they have Dawn with natural in the image in the natural colored hose, and that was. People did that, but they also had ensembles where everything matched. Fun. A monochromatic was very, very big. And it is imprinted on me that that's still beautiful. So I don't remember all of these costumes' names like some Barbie collectors do, but when I start going through them, it all comes back to me. So this is Silver A Go-Go, and it's one of the most popular outfits. And one thing about Dawn too is all of this is one of the early deluxe packages. In the deluxe outfits for daytime wear, they always had a poodle, and sometimes the poodle was the color of the outfit,
which is so fun.
But we don't realize too. I remember my grandmother had two poodles, Poochie and Cherie, and she never dyed them. But people did dye their poodles pink and the colors that they loved. And the Dawn designers, which I don't know who they are, but someone out there in Cyberland will come back and tell us. But they really did follow the styles of the time. Like, for instance, let me find here. It's a big one. Here it is. So if anyone's ever seen the movie The Valley of the Dolls, which was a huge film, and Helen Lawson was one of the characters played by Susan Hayward. This is absolutely a copy of what she was wearing in that movie. And that movie was really kind of, it was like a fashion show of that time period. And so they really had, they're like Barbie, you can sell one Dawn, but then you need friends. So she started to have friends, like her first black friend was Dale. And then very similar to the television program that we all watched, Julia. Do you remember Julia?
Yes.
That was,
she does look like her.
Diane Carroll. And Diane Carroll was so elegant and so poised that you wanted her to be your best friend. And then Dale had to have a boyfriend, so she got a boyfriend.
Oh, look at that.
Named Van.
Hi, Van.
So she had a boyfriend named Van. And I really, really feel that Dawn's boyfriend, Gary, was really her hairdresser. So it happens. And then we have Ron, who's one of the other girls. They all just kind of changed around. And now, yesterday, Kay helped us put together the Dawn's apartment. And, it's amazing that any of us even survived, because there's so much that you could swallow and chew. And, I was 7 years old, so I guess I wouldn't have been, chewing on the Dawn's apartment. But you really could choke to death on
all these
things.
little parts and pieces.
And here's something, too, I want to show you. This is just one season of the clothes. So there was 40 outfits. That means that we were all collecting glass bottles as fast as we could to get everything. And then, then there's a thing where you look for coins under the sofa and in the car and, wherever you can find a few dollars. And I never did babysitting, but I know that a lot of the girls that did babysitting, that's where they got their Dawn money.
That is so cool. Her outfits are just absolutely
they really
phenomenal.
Are. And, her character was a fashion model. And in that period in time, there was a ton of commercials for on television for Barbizon School of Modeling. And what Barbizon School of Modeling taught you was poise and how to behave in public. But you could also get a job as a model, because people forget today, at that period, I remember it, a dress shop would have an in-house model. So you weren't actually really allowed to handle the clothes. They would be modeled for you, and then you would get to have a go at it. So then this has always been my favorite piece, is the Dawn dress shop.
Look at that.
Because it's just, this morning we were watching the video and David asked me, he said, do you have that? And I said, no, I don't. Because I figured if I told him I didn't, I might get another one. Because that would be tragic. So her whole character for the 3+ years that she was around was being a fashion model. So they really didn't have time enough to create other personas going into, being a nurse and all the things that Barbie did. But she did have things like cool automobiles. And my first car was this.
Look at that.
Real first car was that car, which was a real piece of junk by the time I got it to drive. But, and here, this is what, if you weren't looking your best and you're going to the supermarket, this is what you looked like.
This is what you wore.
That's what you wore. And of course, she's got long hair, but if you had curlers, you covered that all up. And if you didn't have your eyes done, you put your glasses on.
Dawn really is just such a wonderful doll with so much fun stuff going on for her. Even though it was only about 3 years, you said 3+ years.
Well, see,
look at all of this.
The thing is, the factory could be in business as, there are a 3-year run of this. But remember, the inventory was already out there. So it was sitting on, I grew up in a little small town, Carmel Valley. There was still, beyond that period, there was merchandise on the shelves. And then when they had what happened is they became too big too fast, and then there was some bad bookkeeping. Mm-hmm. So then you get into, here are the early, and I have two of the same things. I don't know how that happened. So here's the early packaging. And it was really it was outstanding. Mm-hmm. And so then once there were financial problems, then they started to do these strange, smaller things. And it lost its, it's still wonderful, but it lost its appeal. Now, of course, I love the graphics that they did. It's so 1970, but it lost some of the appeal.
It's fun to see this little picture of her in the outfit and get the little stand.
Exactly, and I loved the mannequins. So when the pieces started not having the mannequins, even though, if you're a kid, you have 10 million of them already, here are some loose ones. And look at this is just gold paint, but it is a beautiful quality paint. And here's a really great study situation. If you look at it, look at the ratio of the mannequins. The silver is the rare one. Mm-hmm. And it could have been in the factory just a mistake that they ran out of gold paint and they used silver, but I think this is the only silver one
that you have.
And the boys also, which really technically, as far as like Gary, the boys had more careers. This is how I should have dressed today. I should have worn something like that. I've got something close to it. But the boys had really, look at that. That was less than $1 for this pack. And you've got all that. I don't really know how they made it.
You got so much bang for your buck.
You did. And not to be like, back in the olden days, $1 was $1. It was, these were affordable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, and the thing is
now, what kind of outfit is this? A nightie?
This is a nightie.
Ooh.
This is a baby doll. Isn't it, girls? Isn't that a baby doll? It's a baby doll. And the one thing about it is, in 1969, there were 3 channels on our television. And shows for kids were less than 2 hours. So we were outside, we were doing things, we were making things, and if you want to dress a Dawn, you got to have a lot of patience because look at the size of the shoes.
Tiny.
And then to get them on the stands, you really, really had to be very, very patient.
Because remember, everybody out there, she is only 6 inches tall,
Yes.
that's a petite doll. So then the clothes are even smaller.
Yes, they're smaller, and most of my friends, like for instance, the girl next door from me, they didn't have just one. You had lots of them. And then what I loved about them were the little cases. So you had these little there's tiny little cases. And this is a Dale. But look at that. That's like...
That is so fun.
That's Poochie.
It's Poochie.
It's Poochie. That's tiny Poochie. And look at this little outfit.
Who are the
And
people making these designs?
You know, I don't know who the designers that actually are making them, but they copied Poochie and they copied Halston. I mean, this is like right out of that
It's
girl.
couture.
Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely.
And you can see the stockings on Dale. You know, they were beautiful.
And each, again, if you guys are just tuning in, we're looking at this fabulous Dawn collection. Each one of the faces on these Dawn dolls is hand painted.
They're hand painted. So there's, you know, you can have some that you look at them and you really like, and some you don't. You know, that happens. But each one is an individual. But I think that as far as the costumes go, Rachel, Silver A-Go-Go is one of the most iconic of Dawns. But here's another version of Silver A-Go-Go with the hoodie, which I think is just phenomenal.
And the purse and with the chain and a matching chain at her belt.
And those kinds of boots, remember those boots are made for walking. Ladies wore boots like that up to their thighs.
And they're still making boots like
Yes,
that. Couture
Yes.
houses are.
They are.
Look at these outfits.
And then I mean, they're just really amazing and how this is what I also try to tell, I'm going to say this in the right way. I've been in situations where people have asked me questions about, what could we do to get more young people into the doll world? And they're thinking like young like we were when we started. That's very unusual. That's you know, when we were starting, we should have been, you know, buying a house and paying for cars and all of that. Young people in dolls are about a 50-year-old, 50 or 55-year-old, because they have time they suddenly have time. You know, the big debts of their life are paid off. They've got time for hobbies. What a lot of the people in the doll world that are making it stagnant, they don't realize that my generation, we were advertised to by the best people in the world that ever did it. These were on television. They got us hook, line, and sinker. They hooked us in that we had to have
They got
a doll.
you interested in the first
place.
place.
And the reason that we had Dawn was fun. If you look at the commercial that's on Ruby Lane and you watch her doing her thing, you know, if you're a little kid in Carmel Valley or Ohio or wherever you are, you've got to have that.
Got to have it.
So the thing about it is if you really think about what dolls are all about, they are about kind of having fun and escapism.
Dawn's new car. They are about having fun, which is why it's so important, everything that we've been doing here all week. We've been having fun with dolls from the 1860s and now dolls from the 1960s. And we're having just the same amount of fun and laughter.
Yeah, we are. And look at this.
Okay, so our friend Bradley was a little bit jealous about this one.
He should be. In the Dawn collection, the Flower Children, these were special. These you really had to scrape the bottom of the sofas and get all the refills that you could and hope that you got some birthday money because these were expensive. I think these were like $3.95.
So about 3 times as well.
Yeah,
no,
so
about 6 times as much.
Yeah, so they were expensive. But you know, also too, this taught me how to be a shopper because there would also be sales. So you could get 2 for $1. And then you could get them marked down even more. My cousins, I have twin cousins that are just a little older than I am. And one of them said to the other, "Oh, Michael, he started his apprenticeship in dolls when he was about 4 years old." So, you learn how to...
You learn how to do it, and you never quit. We see that you have 2 flower fairies right here.
I actually have more than this, but I've got them hidden away.
You have them tucked away.
Samantha, our web mistress that does the photography and web work, she can rain on anybody's parade. So I thought I had everything that Dawn ever made, and she found 3 things that I don't have. So I'm gonna have to get on that.
One of them was a flower stand.
It's a flower stand, which I don't ever remember seeing that.
It was neat.
But then here's also some of the ones that were more expensive, because if they came dressed in the evening gown, they were more expensive. But I do want to talk to you a thing about,
gown.
Isn't that great?
Amazing.
I want to talk about a condition issue with Dawn, that if you look at even in that commercial that you showed, you can see that the dolls that they're playing with have in the original advertisement have something that's called green knees. You see this? And this has never been removed from the package. So it's never had any air around it. The green knees started almost the instant that they were made. So it's something that I try to not collect them with short skirts if they have green knees. You can find them with green knees or not. Most of the dolls that are in the box and the evening gowns, I have no idea if they have green knees, and I don't really care. But green knees, you see this, it's not something that, it happened over the last 45 years. It happened
immediately.
It happened immediately. So it's almost something that you kind of have to overlook, but you can be selective or not. Just depends. And, if you like, actually that Dawn has a very nice face.
She's beautiful.
Yeah,
and that's a good tip for people wanting to get into Dawn collecting.
Yeah. And then sometimes the rooted hair, when you have the...
Look at that bun.
The bun. When you have the rooted hair, you can get that green kind of halo there. And that is just the chemicals of the plastics, the plastics, having an argument, I guess. And that was probably there also from the beginning. But I think that they're a miracle when you consider the detail and the little size. I mean, it's just
They truly are. They're delicate little flowers, and they're just so wonderful. Look at that fashion dress back there. You have the runway, you have the fashion show, you have the apartment. Right over here we have the beauty parlor.
We have the beauty parlor.
Look at that.
They're fun to play with. But here, look at this. I mean, who doesn't love a good princess phone? I don't think that the average young person today would even know how to work that.
It is so cute. so cute.
And a really tiny detail. And again, there were no warning labels on the packages. I mean, you could eat this, and I don't know of anybody that ever did, but you could. And one thing too that I noticed that I don't have, and that they must be lost, is they had a neat little stand. And the stand is very reminiscent, with the holes in the feet, and the stand is reminiscent of Barbie, the first Barbie, but it's also reminiscent of the Ratiquet and Cardinier from the 1880s. So it was a neat little stand to stand. And the dolls come with different eye colors. They come with blue.
I was just going to say, she has green eyes right there.
Green. I think it just
There's
depends
a couple
on
of her poodles.
Yeah, we got lots of poodles. And this is kind of a neat thing too. We didn't have fancy stores. This would have been in a toy store. And, this is a little Dawn hand mirror. So I think that they really got something going, and, again, the financial problems with the company, they did themselves in. It wasn't that the market wasn't able to take more Dawn. We
are just giving our viewers just a wonderful treat here of just looking and seeing these fantastic dolls. Share our video if you guys are just tuning in. We are looking at the coolest Dawn collection that you're going to see on the internet, and we are just enjoying and taking in all of these fabulous outfits and dolls. Oh, I love that one.
Isn't that cute?
That is so cute.
Strawberry Sundae.
And the poodle is pink.
The poodle is pink. Of course the poodle's pink.
If you remember Dawn, share our video. If you love Dawn, share our video.
This is something that, you know, I remember going to school with girls that wore outfits like that.
It is so fun. Look, the skirt has pearls on it and a chain and
the hanger.
You got a hanger. You got everything.
And here's about marketing. You got all of, and it showed you the 40 other outfits that you had.
It's very smart.
Must have.
I love the tassels on this. Is this Gary?
That's Gary. The one thing that I do not have, because it's been denied, you know, I've been told absolutely not. Dawn had a discotheque, and the discotheque is about the size of a refrigerator.
Really?
That's the reason why I can't have it. It's huge. And what I think is very interesting is, as far as I know, that is the first time that a doll and the word disco go together. So she was really ahead of her time in that, because really the glory time of disco is like a decade later. So it's a pretty neat thing to.
Absolutely neat and absolutely wonderful. Michael, thank you so much. This is so cool. We're going to post some pictures because I know people are going to want to see some really up close details. And right outside, we have 3 guests that are chomping at the bit to come in today.
Are we having the running of the bulls?
Would you like to have the running of the bulls?
Sure.
So the 3 bulls, they live here at the Carmel Doll Shop, and we are going to have day 3 of the running of the bulls.
There's one.
This is Bixby.
That's Bixby.
This is Annabelle.
Annabelle.
Come on, Louie. Here we are on Ruby Lane Live with the running of the bulls.
He's coming in top speed.
So there you have it. That is the wonderful world of Dawn.
Thank you.
We had a blast. Thank you so much, Michael. And we'll be back on later for more Doll Week festivities.
Bye-bye.
Bye.